this is Helene with Restart, and today we are going to be talking about the July 2021 Artsnacks Plus box. Um, it's an interesting box, so we did something a little more simple, plus I'm going out of town, so we're going to make it simple. There's our snack. Oh, I got to give that to my kids. They were out of town when I got it. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the Sakura Micron pens, the 3-pack. With 3 different sizes. We're going to go into that a little bit more detail later. We've got the washi tape, the Daniel Smith watercolors, which I got in Prussian blue and can't seem to figure out how to do it right side up and or down. The Marabou mixed media brush, water brush, the Marabou mixed media art crayon. I got it in black. I got black, black, blue. And then I got the Cretacolor Fine Art Graphite Pencil. And of course you get your sticker and sorry guys, I could not figure out how to get this to focus properly. And I turned it like all different directions and ways. And then I went back because I was like, oh, I didn't focus on these. And obviously did it upside down. So when I went back to edit, I edited everything the right way and didn't notice this till I was doing this. So it's Prussian blue. But you can see here that the 8 or 0.50, the different millimeters, they're like little ball tips, which is cool. The art crayon, like I said, we're going to get into all of this in a minute. So I just wanted to show you kind of what we had just to get through it, you know. I was like, I got to post something because we're going out of town and I want to make sure we post something. Then we have the Fabriano hot press watercolor paper pad, which I love this paper. It's really, really nice. It absorbs, but not too much. And it's smooth, which I like smooth watercolor paper. I kind of go back and forth between the textured and, you know, the cold press and the hot press. But I tend to like the hot press better for whatever reason. There's 12 sheets. It's pretty thick. It's 140 pounds. 9 by 12, I think I said that. And yeah, I really like this paper. I do a lot of my pen and ink artworks on this type of paper, so I've been really, really happy with it. You know, it works. I get Artsnacks always sends me. So I did something a little new by putting all the stuff down so that you can kind of see what it looks like, and then removed it immediately. I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time. We're gonna play with these products here. This is the washi tape. It retails for $2.99. You can stick it and stick it. Now I will tell you, if you rest your arm on your paper, be a little bit careful because I have pulled up my paper before. I use gum Arabic to kind of clean that up if that happens. Maybe I'll do a video on that one day. But it does happen, you just have to be careful. I put a little blob of the Daniel Smith Prussian blue watercolor right here, and I like it. Like I've used this watercolor before, and I just think it's such a beautiful color. It's very opaque, but you can get a beautiful smooth transition from dark to light. You can use it wet, of course, very wet, and do like a wash. You can also just use it out of the tube, and it's almost like an acrylic. So, I mean, obviously it works best with water, but kind of so does acrylic. So, depends on what you're trying to get done. But it's a beautiful color. Of course, the more water you put in it, just like any watercolor, it's going to get lighter. I did like a huge blob of water here to see how it would bloom, which we'll kind of see throughout the little sample here. And then, of course, I'm showing you just a little bit of a wash and a transition from dark to light. I'm also using the Marabou Mixed Media Fluid Arts Brush, which retails for $5.80 at this point. I really liked this water brush. I use water brushes a lot, mainly because I'm always going like from this room to that room, and I have an art studio, but because I have kids and I take care of my parents, it's I'm always like, you know, working in different areas. So I love having those because I can pick them up and go and get something done very, very quickly and very easily. Also, I'm using a new microphone today, so I'm really, really hoping that it works out, but give me some time to work it all out. I'm still trying to figure out like lighting and my mic and how I'm going to set all that up properly. But I've got it in there. Anyways, this is the Marabou Mixed Media Art Crayon. I don't know anything about it. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it later. but I've never used an art crayon before. I've never used any tool like this. It's a new product for me. But it was fun. I wish I had gotten a color that I felt like was more useful just because I like to mix colors. I don't use black a lot unless I'm doing ink. And so I had to try to figure out an interesting way to use this product. And I don't know that I did that. Okay. I sort of just block colored in the drawing that we're going to do, and you'll see that. And I'll kind of explain, but it does do some cool things. You can get some really nice shadows with it if you're looking for like a shadow effect. You can obviously get it very, very dark. It does sort of stay in the paper if you put it down with it dry. But if you put it down on wet, like paper, it almost acts like watercolor. It was very interesting. I mean, I enjoyed using it. I think it has some cool textures. You can smudge it with your finger, unless it's wet, and then you can't. Or I guess it does because of the water, but anyways, you can, if it's dry, it will not. Anyways, it didn't bleed through the paper, as you can see. And I mean, overall, I liked this product. I'm excited to try more of them. I think it'd be really fun to get some other colors and, you know, kind of see how that goes. Anyways, my signature heart that I have to always draw. I've been working on heads. This isn't a good head, but I just kind of was playing with this pencil. But it's the Create a Color. Oh, I'm sorry. The Marabou Mixed Media Art Crayon is $3.99 if I didn't say that. The Create a Color Graphite Pencil is, oh, you know what? There was something I wanted to mention to you guys. I thought it was kind of interesting. Oh, made from a mix of graphite and high-grade ceramic clay so that it is highly break resistant and easy to sharpen, and it is. Full range of 20 lead degrees to cover all sketching, drawing, and hatching applications. I like this pencil. I did like this pencil. I'm a little bit of a pencil snob. I tend to be really, really picky, but I really enjoyed drawing with this pencil. It was nice that it's an H, by the way. It's an H. In the hardness level. It was like soft enough that, or I'm sorry, hard enough that it was like easy to sketch with, but soft enough that I could do some shading with it. I didn't do that in this art piece, but you know, I've kind of played with it a little bit. The Sakura Pigma Micron pens, which you can see, I put 0.08, but it's actually 08, 10, and 12, and then the millimeters are, I think, 0.55, I didn't write it down. I'm an idiot. Anyways, this is a set of 3. They retail for $8.99. They are water resistant when dry, and they really are. You can't move them or budge them once they're dry, dry completely. But when they're wet, you can move them around a little bit. So if you needed to do that, you have that option. Whereas the mixed media art crayon is more like a watercolor. It is oil based, the mixed media art crayon, but it was something I found. Like I said, I'd never used them before, so I thought it was kind of interesting. Hold on, what was it? I wrote some notes down. So, oh, sorry, it's a buttery smooth wax base. Why did I see oil at? Anyways, it's a wax based pastel stick, suitable for both wet and dry techniques. It blends and pops off the page when brushed with water. And of course, you can turn it to retract more of the stick. Again, I got black, so I feel like I was kind of bummed about that. I mean, I always get black. I feel like I always get the same colors. I get like yellow, orange, and black. I mean, I got Prussian blue, which is nice. But what did I get last time? I think I got like blue or, yeah, I did. I got blue and black last time, and white. See what I'm saying? I feel like I always get that from Artsnacks. It's like I'll get the same thing for a long time. I guess if you're with them long enough, you get everything. But I did, by the way, order the BYOB, which is the buy your own palette, BYOP, buy your own palette, which was the Zig Kuretake watercolor, which is my favorite watercolor. By far my favorite. They are so beautiful. I don't know if I'm going to do a full video on them, but they come in a little box like this. And just look. Palette. Okay, I've already messed them up, but look at how beautiful. Can you guys see that? So I've already done some artwork with them, but they are the creamiest, nicest watercolors ever. And I have a huge palette, but these were the colors I was missing. And I am very, very, very satisfied with it. So okay, sorry. Going back to my drawing. So what I did here was a silhouette of sort of like a scarecrow man. So I sketched it out very easily. I originally started too high, so you'll see me kind of move him down a little bit. Um, I'm sort of still figuring that out. I don't know if all artists do that, but I am trying to get to the point where I can draw from my mind's eye and just get it done, like know my measurements. I want to get, but it's been 2 years. I never drew when I was a kid, so I'm kind of figuring all these things out like a little bit at a time. Um, but I thought this was kind of a cool concept to use the tools that I got. Obviously, I could have done a flower, I could have done a mushroom, I could have done, I don't know, all the things I always see people do, but I tend to veer away from that. I tend to like things a little on the darker side and something that's different that I don't see all the time. I love doing flowers, don't get me wrong, but this just felt more like me. So I used the art crayon to outline all his edges, mainly so you guys could see it, because I wasn't actually going to do that. I was going to put the blue down and then put the black on top of it, but I didn't know how well you guys would be able to see the pencil. So I went ahead and just outlined, like did the pencil, outlined it with the art crayon, and it really is like using a really slippery crayon. I mean, it's fun. It was fun to use. I enjoyed using it for sure. Um, this is, I mean, it's not a beautiful hand. Again, it's supposed to be very, very loose. So I put some water on top of it with the, what did they call it again? Hold on, I gotta remember the name of it. Marabou Mixed Media Fluid Art Brush that retails for $5.80. Great brush, loved it. I could do thicker areas or smaller areas. It was really nice. This is the Prussian blue. So I'm layering that in, you know, darker areas and lighter areas and mixing it with some of the black to get more of a gray blue. I really wanted it to be multiple tones of these colors since I was limited in what I had. Sometimes I'll even use the pencil to create some tones, but in this case, I just didn't really need to do that. So anyways, I'm laying the blue down, and then I added some blue to the background in kind of a dry wash technique. So I put some color on, dry washed around the edges, pulled some of that dark down from the arms. I wanted it to look very drippy and kind of scary, without being, you know, over the top scary. I wanted this to be something that was a little simple, something anybody could kind of do. A lot of times I overcomplicate things and I try to do all these different things. And I thought, well, maybe I'll do something a little more simple that, you know, anybody could do this. It's a simple silhouette. It was so easy, but it came out pretty good. And I'll be honest, I should have taken another picture. I need to pull it back out, because now that it's dry, it does look a little bit more consistent. But I needed to dry it all the way. And so I did the video and edited it and took the picture right after. So you'll see what I mean in a little bit. But anyways, I'm just moving the water around on this paper. Oh, and I used my washi tape to hold my paper down and create beautiful little edges. I love the edges. I'll be honest, I'm a sucker for that. And it's so awful because if you're putting it in a frame, it sometimes doesn't work, which is why I like the washi, because you can get a much more narrow frame than you can with like a masking tape or something. And of course it doesn't pull up, although I did have one area that pulled up. No, not on this one, on a different, on one that I'd used with my Kuretake Zig watercolors, the pastels. But that's okay. It's because I put my hand on top of that corner and I forget about it. Crazy. So you can see here, I'm just using, I mean, the art crayon is pretty cool because that little bit of that dark went a really long way. And if you really look, I just laid out a few areas of dark and kind of used those to pull that color down, and it honestly looked kind of cool white. I didn't really pay attention to that, but I'm going to go in just like if I were coloring this in a coloring book and color in all the areas. And before I finish that, because I noticed it had gone a long way and moved around really well, I added some water to it to get it more smooth. But I wasn't necessarily looking for super black, solid, smooth. I wanted some texture and some grays and some gradients. Gradients? So I was a hairdresser before I started doing art, and we said graduation, but some people say gradation. And I don't know if it's actually which one it actually is, if it's gradation or graduation. Somebody will have to tell me in the comments below how they say gradation or graduation. Doesn't matter, I was a killer hairdresser. I was the bomb diggity. Everybody knows it. But I needed a little break from it. I'll go back to it, I'm sure. But I could do a graduated bob like nobody's business. I was the graduated bob queen. I gotta lose some weight first. Oh my god, COVID. Ah, it's been awful. Or maybe I'm just lazy. I'm not lazy. I never sit down. Except for when I'm doing this. I literally am on my feet all the time. I don't get it. And I don't eat. I just eat sugar. Y'all do that? Oh my god, it's so awful. I blame it on my kids. Okay, so you can see I've got like these wetter areas with the Prussian blue that sort of left it like more shiny. And then where the art crayon is, it's more waxy. And so that was a little bit of an issue. So I will have to put a finishing coat or something on this to make it all look consistently one sheen, if you will. But my big blob of water in the middle did dry up and looks a lot better. But I liked that there was like some darker and some lighter areas, and that this sort of shadow on the right side from the like the drips and stuff worked out pretty well. I mean, I just used water and kind of pulled it, right? And let it do its thing. And then all the detail work, I used the micron pens. I went back through, I edited and detailed out the foot of the bird, the beak of the bird, gave him a little toe, and I did some little streamers coming down from the Scarecrow. I was going to leave the bird blue, but then I was like, no, I like the full silhouette. And then I like that blue, like shining down on top. So I, you know, again, graduated my little bird. Looking down at the Scarecrow, my little crow. I guess he's a crow. Not a scarecrow. Crow, right? I think that's how that works. So I'm just filling in anywhere that was like a little bit too gray or too white. I put a little bit of blue in there. So it's so hard on the camera, even with the cameras being as good as they are, to show how much blue is actually in there. But if you look at how the bird looks, it kind of looks like that in some areas. I hope you can see it. I think you can see some of it, but you get the idea. You could even do more of that if you want. But I definitely wanted to have some, you know, grays and stuff. That the art crayon worked for that pretty well. I mean, it didn't, it wasn't too solid like a pen would be, or like an alcohol marker or something like that. Like I said, it was almost a mix between like marker and inkwork and watercolor. So I enjoyed it. I mean, I think it came out pretty cool. I'm okay. I'm pretty happy with it. But I used the different size micron pens to create these little wispy things with his hair, with his arms, his weird shaped hand, and then again, graduated. Put that graduation in there, making sure there's shadows where there needs to be shadows, and just editing that background a little bit. The background is all dry brushed. I used it when the brush was almost dry. And then we sign it, we take our washi tape off. And I hope you guys really like this, and I hope you enjoyed my video.